Good morning, welcome to the channel today. We are on our way to Hurricane, Utah today to work with a horse that a lady said that has had a really bad experience with trailer loading. Said that she bailed out really fast and about ran over people, just super nervous. So we are going to go down and see if we can help this horse out today. So stay tuned and we will talk to you in a little bit. All right, so we are in beautiful St. George today, and we're with Teresa and Katika. Nice little Arabian horse. She's 5 years old.
5 years old.
Okay, so Teresa, I'm just going to ask you. You had a little experience with her. She's a hot-blooded Arabian. They tend to be that way, but just handling her already today, we know that she's a little bit reactive, needs probably some groundwork and those kinds of things. But there was a bad situation with the trailer. She'll get in fine, but then she's not comfortable in the trailer. So go ahead and explain what happened.
So when we were preparing her to move her over here, we worked with her, got her in the trailer, closed the divider, but we didn't close the doors. And then backed her out. She was fine, and she backed out on our terms. But then when we hauled her over here, leaving the barn, she was stomping, having a fit. And once we got on the road, she traveled nicely.
Which is normal. Usually when you get driving, they'll settle down.
Oh, good. So when we got here, we unloaded the other mare first, and then tried to get her out. And I had her on that bull snap. I was trying to get that out, and then I was told, get your arm out of the bar, because she's going to be bad. Not bad, but dangerous is what the word that. So then we opened the gate and tried to just stand there calmly, and then at one point she was getting worse and worse and worse by the second. And then my friend Rhonda, she said, let her go, because you're not going to stop her. So both of us were in the trailer, and we just opened that divider and both got ourselves, I want to say she went out forward. Okay, she probably whirled and came out. Yeah. Okay. But it was so fast, I really don't remember. And then she got loose, and she just stayed right there. She didn't run, she didn't bolt. We were able to catch her, and then being in a new place, she was pretty high.
Yeah.
Just let her go.
Okay, so what we've got is, now I'm not going to say that there's not such thing as trailer loading problems, okay? But what we've got, and you can see right here, and I'm just kind of watching, and I just want to explain all this because even though we're doing a video because you had a problem in a trailer, this is bigger than that. So right now, if you'll notice, she's kind of investigating and stuff. And if you guys can watch the video, every time she moves, you're micromanaging her, and you're saying, "No, I want you here." No, now you have to get that respect. But right now, she doesn't have that with you. So the more you micromanage that halter and try to hold her somewhere, now right there, let her investigate it. The more you micromanage that, the more she's going to try to get away from you. What you want and what we want with her is we want her to say, "I'll stand here for you until you ask me for something else." Okay. Now, can you see how this translates to the trailer? If the trailer's a place where she's super nervous and uncomfortable, she's going to want to move and get out of there. So our goal today is to get her to where we're going to work her around a little bit out here and try to get some. Now, when I say work her, this doesn't mean just work her to get her tired and sweaty. We're going to teach her stuff while we're working her. Okay. We're going to teach her to come off halter pressure. We're going to teach her to lunge past you. We're going to teach her to yield her hindquarters away from you. And in doing that, we're going to do a little work with her, but then we're going to load her and we're going to let her relax and rest in the trailer. Okay. So what happens is they get to the point where they go, I get to rest in there and it's comfortable for me. And so all of a sudden this fear and this anxiety in them, that becomes a comfort place instead of a scary place for them. Okay. So that's our goal with her. Now, I'm going to show you some things along the way, because like I told you, it's more of a human training than it is horse training a lot of times. I'm going to get this done. And just because I got it done doesn't mean you can. Okay. Because I've done this a million times.
Okay.
So, but when we get this done, I'm going to turn it over to you, and we're going to make sure you know how to do this too. This isn't going to be something where I show you and then I head home and good luck to you. Okay. You've got to be able to do this, because I'm not going to be here every day when you need to work with her. Yeah. Okay. So what we'll do is let's go ahead and get started. And what I'm going to do, I've never seen this. This is her first time I've seen this horse. I don't know anything that's been done with her training wise. So what I'd like to do is just kind of move her around a little bit. I don't know if she's been lunged. I don't know about any of that. Okay, so
she's been lunged and she's been grounded.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, and I may do things different than she was taught, so we'll just let her learn. Now, you notice how I didn't come out here and start getting after her and saying, I want you to run. You've got a trailer loading problem. We've got to get this figured out. I'm going to start out with the least pressure that I can possibly do. Okay. If she wants to prance around, because I could watch that all day long. Okay. There's nothing prettier than that. But what we want her to do is get to where she looks to us for leadership. Okay. Now, I'm not just going to run her in circles. I'm going to take her past the trailer, and then watch. I'm going to yield her hindquarters. Then I'm going to ask her to come this way. And we're just teaching her to come off the pressure of this rope. Now, the secret to this is you as a person, when she's doing the right thing, your body has to be totally quiet, okay? Because your body language is what's going to determine how she acts, okay? Watch this. See how quiet I'm being right now? But watch if I do this. Okay, can you see the difference there? So the way you're acting with her is huge. Now, when you have an owner that is a little bit unsure or lack of knowledge, it's not that you're not smart or that you're not a horse, but if you have a place where you don't have the knowledge, the anxiety kicks in, and the fear kicks in, and then your fear translates to her, okay? And when you get a horse that's generally bred to be a little bit more reactive, then that's going to be even more compounded when you do that. Okay, so all I'm doing right here is just asking her to go off my pressure, okay? Now, if you watch me, I'm staying behind her front shoulder. As I walk with her, that's showing her that she can go forward, okay? Now, if I want her to move her hindquarters away from me, I'm just going to pull that and just push that. See how I pushed her hindquarters away? I'm going to show you all that, and then I'm going to give you homework, because the mechanics of this is the hardest part, okay? So now watch. See how easy I was able to get her to move? There's two kinds of horses. There's hot-blooded and there's cold-blooded, okay? I am a cold-blooded horse fan because I love a horse that I actually have to ask to do something. Hot-blooded horses are more of a, okay, we got to keep you slowed down and get you to relax, where cold-blooded horses relax all the time and you have to ask for stuff. That's just my personal favorite. But with her, the last thing we want to do is get her hyped up and nervous, because she's already super sensitive. Okay, now, right here, if she comes and tries to push on me, I want her, most horses will try to come in and get in your space, and I like to back them up, see if we can, there's a step backwards right there. I want her to stand there until I ask for something else. If she doesn't, if she comes towards me, I just back her up, okay? Yes, you always want two eyes on you, okay? Now watch how easy this is, okay? Because she's a super sensitive horse, I want her to go to the right, okay? So I'm just going to point. Okay, there she went. Now, can you see how little reaction we're getting out of her? That's because I'm being super quiet with her. Now, watch how easy. So right now, we've got her walking. This is a crazy Arabian. She should be on a full gallop, sweating like crazy, right? Okay, so I'm going to yield her hindquarters, switch hands, ask her to go the other way. You see how I'm standing in one place and just letting her do the work around me? Too many times we spend our whole time chasing our horses, and we're actually the ones being lunged, not them. Okay? Okay, so we don't even have her hyped up right now, but watch what I'm going to do. I'm just going to walk her up to this trailer now. And see, this is why we have to have her to where she'll come off this pressure. You see people put their arms around their butt, force them in, pull them in, feed them to get in a trailer. We don't want to do any of that. We just want this to be a comfortable place for her. There.
Notice just now, he was checking
okay.
that out, but you're just letting him.
I pretended it didn't even happen. Okay.
And which is something I'm not doing.
Okay, so right here, if she'll step in and then step out, I'll ask her back in. Okay, now right here, the ultimate goal right here for me, a lot of them will just jump all the way in. And if they've never backed out, then you have sometimes a hard time getting them out. So what I like to do is start out with 2 feet in and just let her feel super comfortable. Okay, she backed out, and that's okay. So if she backs out on her own, I'm just gonna ask her back in again. Okay, so back up again. There. Then I'm just going to let her stand here and I'm going to pet her. Okay, so we're just showing her that this is a great place to be. This isn't a scary thing. See how she's investigating the trail? Now look how I'm rubbing her all over. Okay, she reacted, so I'm going to ask her back in part way. So if she reacts on her own, then I'm going to bring her back. Now see her licking and chewing? Okay, she came out on her own, so I'm going to ask her back. This needs to be my idea. Okay, if she pulls, I'm just going to ask her back up. Good.
I see a lot of stuff I did wrong.
Okay, now I'm going to ask her out this time. Okay, now watch. I let her get partway in. Now I'm just going to ask her to move around again for me a little bit. Oh. Okay, so Teresa, I'm going to show you something. I want you to look at this right here. Now that we've let her get partway in that trailer and she kind of got to rest, look what she's doing. Every time she passes the trailer, she's going, it's kind of a cool deal. Okay? So just watch this. Okay? And guess what? I said, nope, not yet. Okay, we're just going to let you just kind of sit out here and work around a little bit. I'm going to yield. Ask her to go the other way. There's a nice slow walk. Look at her, look at that trailer. Okay, now right here, your first reaction is, well, if she's looking at it, let her in. We want her to crave that trailer. So I'm just going to keep her here for a minute. Now watch what happens. Okay, now just watch. Okay, so see how she's still a little bit worried of that? So I'm not going to force her in. We just want to pet her, let her get used to it here. There, see how she came back in on her own? Before, she was kind of forcing her, or just going out when she wanted. Okay, so I'm going to ask her to back out. Now watch. Okay, now she's more than halfway in. Okay, so right here, just let, yeah, as long as she's doing what you're asking, and even if she wants to turn around and look around, look, see how she's sniffing the trailer? So if we put her in here without her letting know it's a good, safe place for her, she's going to get nervous in here. It's claustrophobic. Okay, so now I'm going to ask her to back out. Now watch this. Then I'm going to rub her. See how quiet she's being?
So happy.
Okay, now guess what? I'm not going to ask her in. I'm going to ask her to back out. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to come out here and say, that was great, but let's work a little bit more out here. Let's let you get to where you just kind of crave that trailer.
Make sure it has a time to...
Yeah. That's the problem with most people trailer loading. They wait till they're 15 minutes late to get somewhere. And then they come out here with a horse that doesn't know how to load. And then now it's forceful.
Yeah, and I was with like 3 other trailers.
Yes.
And it was...
And she's a young horse. Those are things you're going to have to just, Now, the other thing I can do, I don't have to do it all right here. I can ask her to go around the side of the trailer. So there's a blanket right there. Let her investigate it. There's the trailer investigation. Okay, here comes the truck. Let her look at it. Right now, not, because she's investigating the trailer. If I'm working her and stuff, I never want her to. But see what's happening right here? Now she wants to be by the trailer. Okay, now with this truck coming, I'm just going to ask her to go. Let her react if she wants to. Yield. Ask her to come this way. Okay, you see how I didn't change anything I was doing? What this is going to do is it lets her react, but then it also lets her know that it didn't hurt her. Everything's fine. Okay, so I'm going to yield. Bring her back this way. See how she's wanting to walk through this now instead of take off? Okay, so I'm just going to work my way right back out to that circle again. Yield. Bring her back this way. Okay, now here we go. I'm just going to walk up here. And at first I'm kind of getting part way up here, but we're going to get her sending in here. All you got to do is stand out there and just let her hop in. Okay, so let her investigate. Just pet her. Okay, then I'm going to ask her to back out. Then I'm going to ask her back in again. So all I'm doing, now she's 3/4 of the way in. Okay, she doesn't even realize she's progressing right here. Then I'm going to ask her to get out. Then I'm going to ask her to come back in again. Yeah, now if she tries to back out at this point, I'm going to let her, but then I'm going to ask her to get right back in again. Okay, now guess what? This is where she gets all the "you're so beautiful," all the loving you want to give her. Now, I'm going to tell you that if a couple of trailers pulled up after we've got her nice and comfortable and those other horses, she's going to react. But you can always take her back to this, even if she gets a little bit excited. Okay, so let's let her back out. Look at that. Uh-huh. Yep. Okay, so now that we've had her in there and she got petted a little bit, we'll go back to this. And look, we're not even making her sweat. Now, remember how you were saying she turns her head away from you? Watch what happens the more we do this. Look how she wants to come to me. Can you see that?
That is a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, once she starts to look for me for leadership, her eyes and her ears come to me instead of everything around her. And that's why I tell you, don't worry about the dump trucks. Don't worry about any of that, because I'm the one showing her that it's safe. So she learns to look to me to say, hey, not quite sure about that. Is it okay? And I'm just sitting here going, sure, it's okay. It's not going to hurt you.
She did that.
Oh. Okay, now watch this. Let her investigate. Okay, now I'm going to come in on this side and I'm just going to rub the crap out of her. This is where women can be because guys just want to load them in and go and do what the hell they're going to do, right? Okay, women come in here, praise her up and down for doing this. Okay? You know, take a minute and a half and just pet her. Okay, see what happened right there? she started thinking, I don't know, I want to get out of here, but then she stepped back forward because this is where she's resting. Okay, now I'm going to be the one, just a little bit of pressure right here and say, let's go ahead and back out. Look how slow she's getting out. Okay, there's no nervousness there now. Okay, so same thing. I'm just going to come out here. We'll just ask her to. Now what's going to happen, you're going to see, what I really want to happen is I don't even want to get in a trailer with her. I just want to stand and point and have her jump in. Look how she's looking at that trailer. But until we really get her to where she doesn't want to get out of there, we want to walk in with her so we can kind of make sure she's comfortable. Okay, so I'm going to yield. Go back this way. Okay, right there. That's okay. Let her react. Point this way. See what happens when I don't get excited? She comes right back down again. See out here, she's going, I don't want to work anymore. Let's get back in that trailer. Okay, so I'm just going to bring her back up here. Now I'm going to try to get her to go past me this time. Come back up here. See, now if she were scared in here, she'd be bailing out. Now she's coming forward for me. Now, I would not tie her in a trailer. Yeah, I would put the divide. Now, once we get her comfortable in here, she'll quit doing that, going underneath. But until she is seasoned with this and you know she's going to be great, I would let her stand in here loose. Because what happens is, put the divider in, but what happens is if they get nervous and then they're tied up, now all of a sudden they're claustrophobic on top of that. And that'll make them really fight. But if she can kind of move around and not be restricted in any way, she'll settle back down. Yeah, and that's like I said, hopefully when we get this done, she's not going to be so worried about that. Okay, now watch this. She's thinking, do I want to get out? Or do I want to walk back in and get petted? But you see how we're not forcing her to do any of this. Okay, so now I'm going to be the one to ask her to back out. Nice and slow. Watch this. One step at a time. Okay, that's as pretty as it gets. Okay, and just so that we're being good on both sides, I'm going to come over here and rub her too. And then I'm going to ask her to back out from this side. Okay, that time she stopped on her own and said, I don't know if I want to get out. Now watch me get her forward. Back forward again. So if she were still scared and nervous, there's nothing I could do. She's going to bail out of here. But now we're making her comfortable. Look how she's standing right in front of the trailer. Lowered her head. There's no snorting. She's licking and chewing right now. Okay, so now I'm going to ask her to back out. Very quiet, just a little tiny bit of pressure on that halter. See how she's only taking one step at a time to back out? This is totally relaxed. Look at that. Now watch this. Okay, she could have got out right there. Now she's going, I think I kind of like it in here. Kind of wanted her to be a little more crazy for the video. But you can see how important it is as a handler to know how to do this stuff. You know, I get people all the time that call me, and in fact, just a quick story. I used to take horse, people would call me and say, hey, will you take my horse for 20 days? It's doing this, it's doing this, it's doing this. So I'd take it and fix it. And then guess what? They're the ones that caused the problem. So 2 months later, they call and say, my horse is doing that again. So
what about when if we took her for a drive, just
Uh-huh.
even if it's down the road and back,
Mhm.
and unloading her, do you think she'll be
once,
not yet?
sure, we can try it.
Okay.
If she doesn't, we'll work with her more. But look, she doesn't want to get out.
Yeah.
Watch this. Now I'm asking her, and she's going, "Really? Do we have to?" Now watch. See this right here? She's going, "I kind of like it, and I don't really care if I get out now." And then you come in here, and she takes a step forward, and you just love on her. Now this turning around and looking out, I don't worry about unless she tries to turn, and then you just bring her head back to you. Okay, you don't want her to start turning around and trying to get out. Forward. The problem with forward is she's a little horse. That gray horse I was working with was twice her weight. So if he turns around in a trailer, it folds him in half, which makes him really nervous, and then it squishes the person handling him. So I just don't, I like to, if you're in an emergency, I like to be able to have them know how to come out forward, but I always back my horses out. Look, I have to beg her to get out now. Watch. Okay, just a tiny bit of pressure. She walked right back in here and stood. Now I'm guessing this is a lot different than the experience you had before.
We did not work on this as much. I mean, we did a few minutes every day and then closed the divider, loaded another horse in.
Yeah.
And I had no idea I'd have
Look, she doesn't want to get out. Yeah, and it's always easier when you load another horse because they kind of follow another horse. But guess what? What if you need to haul her alone?
She was first.
Yeah. And I would never say my horse has to get in the trailer first. You teach him to get in every position. Okay, now one thing we haven't done is get her in there and shut the divider. Okay, and so as soon as we get her nice and comfortable in there, we'll do that because that makes her more closed in and claustrophobic. So I'm just going to ask her to go around here.
One thing I have noticed about her is the more
Oh.
it's kind of an
Yep. And if you quit her, she's going to keep doing that. Okay?
Right.
Yeah. So all of them will test you when they get tired of doing something. They'll test you and just say, "No, if you'll just do this, there'll be a reward." See, I'm seeing a little bit of that with her right now, but I'm just asking her to do it, and she's doing it. Now, what's going to happen is, it's going to get to the point where she goes, "God, every time if I get to go in the trailer, then the work quits." So I'm just going to see if she'll do this. See, right now, she's really dependent on me to get in there with her. And I want her to do this on her own. Okay, right here, this is a different thing for her. Okay, so we're finding a little spot right there. So I'm just going to let her figure this out. She knows how to get in and relax. I almost like it when they do get a little bit, because then when they get in here, the reward's even better. Okay, so she wasn't as good without me coming in first. Okay, so now we just need to work on letting her know that she can come in off the pressure of that. So I'm just going to ask her out. Look how careful she's being. Okay, now watch. I'm just going to ask her to come back in. Okay, now she's starting to understand to come off that halter pressure. It's amazing, huh? How fast they can change. Okay, so back. Now look how she's not even really trying to get out on her own. I have to actually ask for it. Okay, so I'm going to ask her to come past me again and get back in. Just to keep a little pressure here. Okay, now see, I'm not even in front of her anymore. You really want your horses just to load on their own and not have to worry about. I don't even tie my totally broke horses up. They just come in and stand in their stall because they've learned to love this trailer so much. Pretty quiet.
Very quiet.
Now, we're going to get a long ways with her today, and we're going to teach her this. Is it going to totally fix her in a day? We'll probably have to reinforce this a couple times with her. But it really, if you do the right things, it does not take very long. The gray horse that you saw, we worked with twice, is all.
I can tell where some of the issues are. And I'm overreacting.
Yes, guaranteed.
And one of the things that I have not seen you do once is jerk, and I'm not going to do it.
Nope.
But is jerk that.
Yeah, she's a sensitive animal. She doesn't need that. Okay, watch this. So tell me, I mean, I can tell you the progression of this. You tell me what you've seen since we started. How do you see that we've done this instead of, well, you tell me what you think, why we got to this point so quick.
Well, first of all, you let her look around. You didn't let her, you didn't get excited about anything. You let her explore. The dump truck went by. She was like, what? You just let her go. That was a big thing that I've learned right now. And
Step right here just in case we can't hear very good.
And the other thing that I do know is that I've been putting so much pressure on her that I jerked that bull snap on her, and she was not like that. The other thing is that I did not do this long enough. I did not get in here, love on her. She was loading fine. We closed the divider. We did that for 3 days. But we did none of this.
Yeah.
Loving on her.
And that's one of the things I notice with people is they think, my horse is in a trailer, we won. Yeah. Well, guess what? If your horse gets in a trailer and then freaks out, you didn't win anything. You just created a bigger problem. So I guess that the answer I was kind of trying to is, it's a progression. It's a step-by-step. We don't ask her to load in by herself right from the start. We let her take steps, and we get her partway in. Now watch this. Okay, so see how right now she doesn't even really want to get out. If a horse is belling out, it means they're uncomfortable in here. Okay, so I'm just going to let her. Now watch this. Watch her figure this out. Okay, she came in on her own. So tell me the difference between that and a horse that's nervous in here and just wants to get out.
She was stomping, dancing, rearing.
Yeah. Now, is she still going to do that a little bit? Probably, for a little bit. But I will tell you this, once you do this a while and you haul her and then you bring her home. Now, the last thing you want to do is be nervous when you get somewhere. Like say you hauled her to her place tonight and then you just said, let's get her out before she throws a fit. It's the worst thing you can do. If she's nervous, you want to just take a little time and rub her, let her come back down, and then progress.
I open this gate.
Yeah, but like you see, you don't want to get your hand in those bars and then have her do something and snap your arm or do something that way.
Tied to this.
Yeah, and that can be really dangerous. Okay, so watch this. I mean, she doesn't really want to get out at this point. Okay, that's a whole different animal than is scared that just can't stand being in here.
After talking to you, I figured it was more of my issue.
9.99999 times out of 10, it's human error. And you know what? It doesn't mean people aren't smart or that they don't. It's the knowledge. It's a lack of knowledge. Clinton, who I learned a lot of stuff from, always said, frustration begins when knowledge ends. It's one of the truest statements with horses you could ever hear.
And okay. I gotta say, she's doing really good, even with me in here next to you, 2 people, where she was.
Okay, see, I didn't even get in front of her. I just asked her to come in.
So, should I get on the other side? You
Sure.
on this side? And,
yeah. And then what we'll do is we'll get her standing up in here, and then we'll shut the divider and rub on her and make sure that she's okay with the divider.
Just have her, both of us on both sides.
Yeah, this is a lot of stimulation. Now we're on both sides. But see how she's learned to say, these guys aren't going to hurt me. This is a comfortable place for me.
And the one thing she just loves this kind of attention.
Yeah, which makes this even better, because then she goes, all I got to do is get in that trailer and I get loved on. Yeah. Okay, so go ahead and step out. I'm going to try to get her to load once with me standing on the ground and get her coming in, and then we'll try the divider. So right there, she got a little anxious when you went out just for a second. So that's why I'm saying this isn't going to fix her in one session. But what it is going to, see how she's dancing a little? Now watch. So she saw you get out, but now watch. Okay, see how she just came back? So this is where if you get nervous when she gets a little nervous, then it compounds everything and makes it worse. So
what would you call it? Progression. I have to remember that.
Yeah. Horses learn by repetition, which step-by-step stuff is so good for them, because then you build on each step. So you teach them one thing, and then you move on to the next step, which is just a building block from the last one. The other thing that's so great about it, see, she doesn't want to get out. The other thing that's so great about it is if something happens and she has a bad experience or something, and you have to go back a couple of steps and come back to this, you can, because she's not going to forget it. Okay? Now, okay, so watch this. Okay, that time I'm standing on the ground and she came in. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up, and I'm just going to put this over her back, over her neck. I'm just going to ask her to come to the front. And I'm just going to close this. Okay, so right there we saw a little nervousness in it. Okay, so we'll just turn her back around. We can do that with her because she's not very big. So I'm going to bring her back to the front. Right there, rub her. Okay, now, if she gets a little nervous right here, I'm not going to totally close this yet. Then I'm just going to ask her to move her butt over a little. I wouldn't reach through and pet her through here, because if something happened, she bolted back, you could. Now look at what's happening right here.
You still got a little concern, but
yeah, this is new, but she's accepting it. Now watch this. So I don't want her to turn around and come out, so I'm gonna wait for her to kind of look that other way. And what I want to do is just come in here. See, she's gotten a little habit of turning around and bolting out, so we don't want that anymore.
And that was just one time with me.
Yeah. Well, my guess is that's probably how they unloaded her before too, and they just let her just do her own thing. There you go. Good. Okay, so we're going to ask her to come out again. Now, you notice what's happened here. Do you see any sweat on her at all? We haven't done anything to say, let's get her really tired so that we can get her loaded. Look at that. She drags her foot out. Okay, so I'm going to ask her again. Ask her to come all the way in the front. You're okay, sis. You're okay. There you go.
What did you do right there?
I just kind of put a little pressure on her cheek to have her turn her head. You're a little gal. You can almost turn around in there. There's the licking and chewing. So right here you can see she's a little bit anxious. So this is where you want to just sit and pet her. Hey everybody, wanted to thank you guys for watching the video. One thing I did want you to know, we're going to treat this as a part 1 I didn't realize it till I got home to edit the video. We actually only got about 38 minutes of it out of about an hour. So you guys didn't get to see the owner loading her horse. It cut off, my camera cut off before we got to that point. So this is a part one. I'm going to be there next week. We'll do a part two and let you see how the owner does with these ways of loading, and let you see where she gets with her horse. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for helping us with the channel, and if you wouldn't mind, if you haven't subscribed, if you'd subscribe and let us know what you think, we'd appreciate it. So we will see you next week, and again, thanks for watching.